All over America, many hearing children enter kindergarten ready to learn because of their strong language foundation. At their home, their hearing parents will speak and they'll be able to hear it and acquire language. Acquiring language means having strong basic interpersonal communication skills, BICS, which is important because when children play and communicate with other children, it means they're also able to do that with adults. Having a strong interpersonal communication skills helps them be ready to learn and develop their academic skills and their reading and writing skills. And that's also called cognitive academic language proficiency, CALP, which develops between the ages of 5 to 7. Deaf children with hearing parents go home and they see their hearing parents talk and it goes over their head. So their language foundation is not strong. So when they enter school, they're not ready to learn. Their BICS and their CALP takes a long time to catch up. In 1995, there was a researcher who showed that children who don't have a strong language foundation enter school and they're already behind 7 to 10 years, and it takes them that long to catch up. All over America, many deaf children have reading and writing skills around the 4th grade level, and that's challenging. Deaf children with deaf parents have been researched, and they've been shown that their language acquisition is proficient because their deaf parents will sign with them, so their development is able to progress. Researchers compared deaf children with deaf parents and children with hearing parents and their success in development, and it's the same. Researchers, as you can see here, have noticed that ASL and English reading and writing skills have a strong correlation. Back in 2011, a group in Washington, D.C. was interviewed 55 students that were mostly University of Gallaudet students in their undergrad and master's, and they tested their ASL skills as well as their English reading and writing skills and compared them, and it was found that there was a strong correlation between the two and that high scores were gotten in both areas. Researchers noticed that children who struggle with reading and writing also noticed that hearing children who struggled with reading and writing and tried to apply techniques that were used with hearing children to deaf children, and it was not successful. Deaf children with hearing parents can acquire language and they can develop writing and reading skills. When partnered with deaf adults who sign, deaf children become exposed to both ASL and English, and they're able to develop. Back in 2013, a group was interviewed of 12 teachers and parents, and successful deaf children who read and write, they were curious because of how they were able to read and write, and it was because of their strong access to ASL and a visual language. It's important to encourage children to fingerspell no matter what their age is, so that they have constant exposure for language access and for reading and writing development. And at home, it's important to have books with pictures laying around and to encourage exposure for reading and writing. And parents should be sitting with their children, and it doesn't matter how old they are. It's important to sit next to them and to explain to them what's happening and to make sure that they're communicating with them. It's important that schools encourage and respect ASL because we already have English classrooms set up, and so it's important that we also encourage the growth of sign language in classrooms. It's important to encourage students and challenge them to read above their reading level. It's also important to use teaching in ASL and in English so that children can notice and self-correct their own errors. Deaf children with reading and writing development need support from their parents early on. They can also get ASL language specialists through an individual family service plan or an individualized education plan. When children use ASL and English, it's important for them to have those skills so that they're ready to develop and enter into school. When they enter in school, it's important to develop those skills at the same time so that they're both developing at a constant rate.